Yo, what is going on? PartTimerZack here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about punishing Gray Raven. So I wasn't initially going to talk about the drama, but they did do an update on Discord. And I thought, you know what, let's just quickly run through kind of what's going on. And then we'll talk about the Discord. That's going to be the main kind of topic I want to talk about. And so I'm not going to focus too much on kind of the drama aspect of it, because I'm sure you guys are kind of well aware of what's going on. But real quick, we're just going to run through what I kind of feel is like the most important, not saying that none of these are important, but just talking about where the inconsistencies lie and not really talking too much about my opinion. Because at the end of the day, honestly, I feel like it's really kind of shitty that they did all this, and my opinion is not really going to change on that. I really feel like they need to do something quick, fast to fix a lot of this stuff. And so that's just going to be my overall opinion for a lot of this stuff, is that we need to see what's going on and at least hear some communication about what they're going to be doing to fix it. But let's go ahead and talk about the top up. So top up was one of those things that we did talk about on the previous video, and mainly I just talked about the free pack because that's what I wanted to highlight to make sure that you guys got it. But I kind of just skimmed through this because every time that I play a new gacha, I don't really think about paying anything until about like 2 or 3 weeks in, because I'm like, you know what, I want to make sure I like the game. But I just kind of skimmed through it, and I did in that video as well. I think I just said, here's the currency, here's the price amounts, and then I kind of skimmed through it. And I didn't take a second to look that the cards and stuff are actually like a weird value, essentially. Like they're an off value. So it's not the fact that it's like $5 for 28 cards. It's the fact that 28 cards doesn't plug in anywhere. So it's not like you can just use them directly into something. Because like if you talk about just like something very common that people buy, like the day pass here. So this is 30 rainbow cards. Okay. So you'd think like, okay, this is usually like $5, maybe like $6, I guess, if depending on the dev. But you go into here, and first off, you'd think that you could just buy it with currency, like money, you know what I mean? You just say, okay, I want this, and you just pay $5. But no, you have to buy their currency, then exchange it, which whatever, I guess if they want to do it that way. But the fact that it's 30 rainbow cards, and then you see that you can only get 28 for 5. Okay, so you have to spend $6 in order to get it. Or I guess you can buy a weird currency of, you know, this $5 and this. Either way, this is going to be $6. So at the end of the day, it's the fact that you have to do like this predatory system of always upcharging you for something that should have already been an easy conversion. And so it's like either they need to change this to 28 or they need to change this to 30. I don't care how they do it. They just need to be able to make it kind of a conversion. I think this other one's like 69, which is what the heck. I guess you could buy this one. So $12 makes 71. So I guess that makes a little bit more sense. At least you can only buy one pack. You don't have to worry about, I guess, buying another one. I don't know. Anyway, so it's just kind of one of those things where like you can just see that the model here is a little bit more predatory than other gachas. But, you know, that's just something that, like I said, I'm not agreeing with, and I really hope that they change. It's just one of those things that I want communication, essentially. And if they do see it and they're like, hey, you know what, we tried to do it. We tried to get, you know, Sly. We tried to get under yet, but you guys caught it, but we're going to change it. You know what I mean? Because at this point, I feel like a lot of these places are just trying to like, when it comes to global, there's some hidden law or something where they're like, let's shaft the global players. We have to try at least. It's like a hidden law that they have to like sign in order to convert their game to global or something. I don't know. It always seems like global games, when they have other versions of the game, they try to shaft as much as they can, and then they reel it back because they're like, all right, these guys are getting pretty smart. So we're getting to a point where we're just converting that really fast. It's like, hey, you know, 5 days in, I already know what you're trying to do. I've already seen it. Stop doing it. And they're like, all right, you caught me. It's like Dora the Explorer, you know, Cypher, no, Siphon. Like, all right. So anyway, let's go into the novice missions. This one, if you hadn't told me that different regions had different currencies, honestly, I would have been happy with this. I've been like, hey, free currency, hey, whatever. And I do see that point where a lot of people are like, hey, quit complaining. You know, you're getting free stuff. And at the end of the day, yeah, you are getting free stuff. It's just the integrity, I feel like, or the principle of like, hey, if it's 100 in other countries or other regions or other versions of the game, make it 100 across the board. This doesn't make any sense to make it any different. It's not like it's region locked to 50. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to change the value here in order to get stuff going, unless it's just like you're just greed. It's just like they don't want you to have a certain amount of black cards because they're trying to restrict the amount of stuff you can get. That's essentially what they're trying to do. And that's the only way that I can really see it. And you know what? So just make it 100. Easy fix. You know what? Call it a day. Make it all 100. Refund the difference between the ones that you actually completed and go from there. Just a little update though. I did think that this left at day 7. It just unlocks everything at day 7 and you can kind of work on it as you want. But again, like, you know what? Just refund the difference and give me 100. You know what? That's just all I want. So the last thing is this little event here. So we did cover it briefly, and I didn't really do a lot of the calculations, and that's my bad. I should have definitely looked into it before I even presented the event, because I thought it would be fun. You know, I was like, hey, you know, freebies, stuff like that. You know, obviously there's RNG, but as long as you do your dailies, you should be able to get it. And then I realized that after looking at different content creators and Reddit, and they were doing the math, and they were like, hey, looks like you can't even get it. So the essential part is that I think you can get like up to this one, with the free to play. So if you just do your dailies and stuff like that, you can get 10,000 depending on your RNG, obviously. But this is the real issue, is going into the next one of getting another, 20,000 or whatever. I don't know if it like carries on. I'm guessing that's kind of the issue that a lot of people are having, is that they're not going to be able to get the skin as a free to play. And the event, while it didn't just say like, hey, this is free to play, the idea and the expectation was that the event would be free to play, or at least grindable, and that you wouldn't have to spend very much currency, if any currency at all. And the fact that they kind of just said, hey, you have to spend a lot of currency to get what you want, is really annoying. If they wanted to make money on the costume, just put it in the shop. I've seen a lot of people say that, and I agree. So it's kind of like, if you wanted to make money on it, what I feel like they wanted to do is like, say that they put 20 bucks on the skin, right? And a lot of people bought that. Well, there's a potential with RNG that people would pay 30, right? Because the RNG could be really bad, and you'd have to spend like 30. Obviously these aren't real numbers, but you'd have to spend like 30 bucks for the skin because of the RNG. So they're trying to like upsell the skin a little bit, because if they just put a base price of like 15, 20 bucks on it, they could potentially lose money when they could gain money from people who actually have to, like, the base price RNG is 20 bucks. But if people have really bad RNG, then it goes to 25, 30. So they can make money off of it. So essentially that's what they're doing, I would guess anyway. And that's why they decided to do it that way, which I don't agree with at all. I feel like it's just predatory, and that they need to get slapped in the wrist, say, hey, get the hell out of here, review Bob them, see what's going on, and then see if they'll fix their way. So the last thing I want to talk about is this Discord. So let me pull this down. Whoop. And this is the official Discord. If you guys don't know what the heck was happening in Discord, it was kind of a shit show. I'm going to be honest right here. It was just kind of like people are abusing their moderator status, and they were just doing things that they shouldn't have been doing. There was a lot of people spamming and saying just really negative comments that were getting timed out. And I kind of agree with that, because it's like, yes, you should have a feedback. You should have a channel for feedback. But they were doing it like in the general. They were just going to different channels here and just constantly just belittling everybody. And so, yeah, I do understand that moderators have to keep, some sort of level of integrity and stuff going on, and keep it a safe place for everybody to be engaging with. They should have just moved to some sort of feedback and just monitored it from there, and seen like if people are being rude or harassing others, then go from there. But basically the idea that a lot of people were getting, though, is that it was from the developers themselves, and that they're the ones that made this Discord, and they were the ones abusing people. And that wasn't really the case. Okay, so whenever this Discord was made, it was made by a community that was not tied to the actual developers, and the developers just joined the Discord, and they're like, hey, I see what you're doing. Thank you so much for essentially helping us make this Discord. We'll let you kind of run it, and we'll just kind of hang out in the background. We'll be a part of it, and we'll just make it the official, game. We'll make it the official Discord or whatever, and we'll transform it. So that's essentially what happened. It wasn't that the developers were in here bullying people, that they were kind of being rude. It was just moderators that were already a part of this before the developers joined and just made it the official Discord. And essentially what has happened is that they just took the reign of it. So the developers are like, hey, we have gotten rid of the people that were essentially abusing their power, and now we're in control of it. So the Discord has now transformed from like a community-based server of just like being housed by so many community members into like a developer kind of thing, where the developers are taking, like, Shockwave here is essentially the guy that says, what is going on? This is what's happening. So just to give you a little bit of a brief kind of expectation of what's going on with this whole thing, because that's just kind of what this whole thing is saying, is like, hey, we took over the Discord. We are going to be kind of reamping it and rebooting it, essentially giving all kinds of different channels, talking about all kinds of different things. And so they're going over kind of a remake or a remodel, if you will, and that they're going to make it a little bit more official. They're going to be kind of addressing a lot of the things that Discord was kind of having problems with. And this person, Shockwave, is going to be personally overseeing what's be going on and going from there. So that's kind of what this is going to be talking about, as well as like the last part here. So over the next few days, we want to take time to implement a stable set of rules and regulations, as well as focus on the necessary changes that need to be considered in order to create a healthy environment for players to engage in. We may issue a few more announcements to keep everybody updated on the status of the server. So that's just basically on this as well as the game. But the last part here is kind of what I wanted to see. And this is why a lot of people are pitchforking right now. A lot of people are wanting to quit. And this is why I kind of urge you to kind of slow it down a little bit, because we want to see what they want to say. So if they kind of, I know it's like, one of those things where it's like, it shouldn't matter what they say because they messed up. But at the end of the day, it's like, hey, these companies try to do this stuff. And if they reel it back and they have good communication, then whatever. If they do it again, then yeah, okay, burn the servers, whatever. It's just the fact that let's see what they say and go from there. So basically, last but not least, I know all of you are concerned about the in-game content and the recent issues that have come to light. I want everybody to know that I am the community manager, and as such, I am personally awaiting the official response from the game operations team. My duty is to solve the current issues with Discord first, and then our dev team will have an official announcement to make with the issues on Twitter. And so what I basically want to say at the end of this is that they are working with the game operations team, and that they're kind of obviously making some official announcement that, hey, we're going to change something. This is how we're going to change it. And so this is what the whole video is kind of coming to the end of, right? It's just wait a minute, just reel it back. I know we're heated, I know we're mad, but this game is a really fun game. It's one of those things that I feel like could be really well, and I've said that about, like, you know, the Strongest Hero, and they kind of screwed that up, but let's at least give them a chance to kind of like see what they're doing. And if they do it again, they mess up again, then fine. You know what, burn the bridges, you know, do whatever they got to do. I'm not against review bombing or saying stuff on social media. Just try to keep it respectable and try to just voice your opinion instead of bashing people and bashing other things, and go from there. Honestly, you know, review bombing does have its time and place, and it does usually work out for the most part. But review bomb it because you have a problem, not because everybody else is doing it, not just because like, oh, well, I'm mob mentality. You know, just do whatever you got to do for yourself and go from there. So I would just say that, you know, wait for Twitter and see what's going on from there, and then we could judge whether we're going to be supporting the game, whether they're going to be like, whatever, the game doesn't care. I just want to see what they say at first, because you know what, if they reel it back a little bit, then I'll give them another chance, and I'm going to play it. So, because honestly, a lot of this stuff doesn't really affect me too much, as I'm not going to be spending too much money on the game. And you know what, the novice missions at the end of the day are free. I just hope that they kind of convert that, which I feel like is an easy fix. And then the event, you know, if this is a really bad event, you know, there are other gacha games that had bad events, and then they kind of worked it and they made it a little bit better going forward. So honestly, all I can really see is improvement. If they happen to not have that improvement, then obviously we just jump ship. Free to play game. You know what, if you don't like it, then you can just uninstall and move on. And that's definitely what I would be doing. If they kind of screw up or they don't say anything in the next couple of days and they just keep quiet, then hey, we'll move on. We'll go play a different game. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much what I want to say. Thank you guys for kind of hanging out for that lengthy one and talking about some different issues. Obviously, discussions are open in the comment. I just do ask that you be a little bit more respectable and be kind of, you know, nice about some other opinions and stuff like that, and kind of have a discussion instead of just yelling at each other, which, I mean, I don't think you guys are going to have a problem doing that. I just want to make that as a disclaimer, essentially. But anyway, guys, have a good rest of your night. Peace.